point is when you watch this movie, it's unlike anything you've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good, bad, right, wrong, and different. And however you're going to react, the great thing about the movie, people either love the movie and they get into it and they love the fact that they're challenged and they want to figure things out and all the metaphors and what it means. And by the way, you're not wrong. Whatever you come away with the movie, you're not wrong. And then some people just like, oh, it's too much. I don't want to think about it. Either way, it causes this great response in people.
And I think that's the point of entertainment, is we want to make something that make people talk. It's not just seeing the movie. It's the 2-3 hours afterwards where you're talking about what you've seen. And sometimes you go see a movie and then you leave and you go on to dinner or whatever. But I love the movies where you all sit there and I saw this. Well, I got this from this and I got this.
Right.
And to me, that's what this Richard is. I almost wonder like what other odd talents he has, because we've watched, because the process of this movie was so long and in the making that we watched some of the things that he prophesized come true. I remember in the early scripts there was the beginning at the gas pump, and he made the gas price or $4 or whatever it was, and it seemed at the time astronomical because gas was still one.
Right, it's
maybe
ridiculous, Richard.
Yeah, no one's ever going to buy gas at $4 or $5 a gallon, And then we go to film and we have to change it in the script because now that's what gas prices are. So it's been odd to watch some of these things start to happen.
Absolutely, and again, there's the the testament to Richard's brilliance. You know what I mean? There's brilliance and insanity, and he walks it wonderfully.
Well, can you tell me a little bit about the graphic novel, just since you have it up there?
Well, the graphic novel is the prequel to the film, and the whole story is 6 chapters, and the graphic novel is chapters 1, 2, and 3, and the movie picks up where the book leaves off. And we wanted to try to create a cross-media storytelling experience for audiences that kind of brings you back to serialized fiction and growing up and reading comic books and thinking about the excitement and anticipation of the next issue. We're trying to give audiences an opportunity to have that same sense of excitement where the movie is the completion of the book. And at the same time, the movie stands alone on its own, but if you want the deeper experience, you can then read the book after you see the movie and then kind of take a second look and get the whole big picture.
These are the sordid tales of how it all came crashing down.
In 2016, I decided to watch Richard Kelly's debut film, Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko blew me away and became one of my favorite films of all time. I remember trying to go to bed that night, and I just couldn't. I spent hours looking up theories and articles and videos that would help me understand what I just saw. Looking back, the movie isn't as complex as I once thought, but I still love it. I love it enough that I even have a tattoo of Frank the Rabbit on my left arm. I wondered who could have possibly thought of a film so great and so complex. So I looked into the filmography of Richard Kelly. I didn't see much. I saw a 2009 film titled The Box and a 2005 film called Southland Tales. Both had low scores and at face value appeared to be nothing special, so I proceeded to not watch them. I remember telling someone that Donnie Darko seemed like it was an accident because the director never made another good movie. Little did I know how wrong I was. In 2019, I was on vacation from work around Christmas, and I was just sitting home alone, bored, and figured, hey, why don't I check out that movie that the director of Donnie Darko made, the one with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Justin Timberlake, and The Rock. When I first saw Southland Tales, I was utterly lost. I don't think I've ever been more confused by a film in my life, and that's only because of the circumstances surrounding Southland Tales. When you go see movies like Hereditary, The Witch, Dune, or even some mainstream films like the MCU or Star Wars, you can easily just look up ending explained videos. There are very few to none of that with Southland Tales, because in order to make complete sense of Southland Tales, Richard Kelly has the balls to request that you read 3 graphic novels before you view the film. It's like if the Halloween franchise just started with Halloween 4. But if you view Southland Tales as a standalone film without the graphic novels, you're given a plethora of information at the get-go. Justin Timberlake, who plays Pilot Abilene, tells you that 2 nuclear bombs went off in Texas on July 4th, 2005. This started World War III, and because of this, oil was in short supply, and the US government started using an alternative called fluid karma, which is also used as a drug on soldiers. The Patriot Act has been upgraded so far that people are even being watched taking a shit. There are extreme rebellious groups who are against the new Patriot Act, known as the Neo-Marxists. There's an upcoming election in the present day of 2008, and it's come down to the state of California. An actor named Boxer Santoros, played by The Rock, has gone missing in the Nevada desert and has reappeared in California with amnesia, and no one knows how. This video originally started as just a single video, then it turned into 3 separate videos on parts 4 through 6 of Southland Tales. And then after searching YouTube, I realized there are no videos breaking down the graphic novels of this series, so I decided to be the first. I'm not sure if any of you guys are searching for answers to Southland Tales, but if there happens to be, I'd appreciate the support you can give me, so I know that this series will reach at least a few of you. So, I summarized the comic book a little bit, but I want to break down each of the first 3 issues so that we can make more sense of the film when we get to that part. So here is somewhat of a deep dive into Southland Tales Chapter 1, Two Roads Diverged. The title Two Roads Diverged comes from the Robert Frost poem, The Road Not Taken. All 3 issues of Southland Tales were written by Richard Kelly himself and illustrated by Brett Welderly. Brett Welderly was an odd choice as an illustrator because his art is very good, but he is a cartoonist, so some of the characters are unrecognizable at first. Like, if you told me this was supposed to be The Rock, I'd believe you, but if I was going in blind, I would have no clue who this character is supposed to be. Anyway, issue 1 was released on June 28th, 2006. I love how Darko is on the first few pages. I'm not sure if this was Richard Kelly's company or stamp or whatever, but I like it as an Easter egg. In the opening moments of the issue, US Ident is zooming in on Boxer Santoros. Boxer is an actor, and he is also married to the daughter of Senator Robert Frost, who is running for president. He is lost in the desert, and he injects himself with a syringe filled with fluid karma. Fluid karma, like I've said, is a replacement for fuel, but it is also used as a drug on soldiers. So somehow Boxer has come across some. Fortunio Balducci is a professional gambler, and he is coming to pick Boxer up. We get a brief flashback of Fortunio playing poker via satellite with some troops overseas, and these blimp-like things called Zeppelins allow them to get Wi-Fi even out in the ocean. On this boat, we also see Krista Now, Ronald Taverner, Tab Taverner, and Jimmy Hermosa. Krista Now says her famous line to describe the blimps that give off Wi-Fi. Fortunio loses his game and loses $10,000 before a bomb goes off in Syria and kills the soldiers that he is playing with via satellite. He disputes this with the casino worker and is pretty much shut down, so he is out of luck. Tab Taverner has an interesting line where he says, "Money is like fluid karma," so it was an interesting look at how the dialogue in this world is, where fluid karma has become a normal phrase. Fortunio admits that he owes some bookies in Nevada $100,000 and is unable to pay it back. He's advised to flee the state, but Fortunio's monthly passport, yes, monthly, is expired and he can't afford a new one. We quickly learn what happens when you try to come across state borders without a passport. Porn star Krista Now says that someone who works at the border is a big fan of her work and is able to sneak him across if need be. Krista is staying at Buffalo Bill's. Fortunio drives toward the border and meets one of Southland Tales' main protagonists, Boxer Santoros. Boxer is passed out on the side of the road. Fortunio offers Boxer a hand and Boxer proceeds to mumble gibberish. In the car, Boxer tries to inject himself with fluid karma until Fortunio offers him a banana and water instead. Boxer keeps suggesting that he is a pragmatic prevaricator. I'm not sure what that means, we'll try and figure it out. And asks him where he is and what day it is. So Boxer is clueless as to everything, suggesting that he has amnesia. A park ranger for US Ident receives an anonymous tip on the location that needs to be looked at. It's an SUV that has been burnt to a crisp with a dead body inside. Or as they say, a burnt chicken McNugget. This will come into play down the line. There are no plates on the vehicle, but there is a serial number. The way the police talk about fluid karma vehicles is similar to how some people hate electric cars in today's society. It's crazy how Richard Kelly somehow predicted these events even though they're not 100% accurate. Trier is a brand of car that does not run on gas, and its advertisement says, "Roads not required." I'm not quite sure what that means, but we'll just move on. Fortunio tries to make sense of why Boxer was in the desert but has no luck. The only thing Boxer remembers is a maze where the walls were made of sand and fire. He doesn't even remember he was an actor when Fortunio mentions his movies. Fortunio sees this as an opportunity to take Boxer's money to pay off his bookies, but Boxer doesn't even have his wallet on him. Fortunio gives some backstory on Boxer. He was a football player, but got injured and then became a famous actor. Fortunio explains that there are different tiers in women, athlete women being third, actor women being second, and rock star women being first, because they don't discriminate as long as you have a guitar in your hand. Near the state border, Boxer seems to find the place familiar yet strange. Like he's been here before, but he's not sure. Boxer seems to find it strange that he would need a passport just to travel to the next state. Fortunio explains how and when everything changed on July 4th, 2005. Someone set off 2 nuclear bombs, one in El Paso at the border, and another in Abilene, Texas. 200,000 people died, and no one knows who did it, and Boxer has woken up in the middle of World War III. It is implied that America went after the Middle East because that's who they think did it. I honestly wish I could have experienced this movie in chronological order with the books first and the movie second, because the information dump is just so much better here than it is in the first 5 minutes of the film. Meanwhile, in the tree Saltaire, they find hair samples of the body that was found. The investigators say that only 50 of the Trier Saltaires exist and that none of them are registered with the DMV, so they think that they will come searching for it. And right on cue, people break in and steal the SUV and the corpse. Seriously, what's up with this artwork? I wouldn't even know if they stole an SUV if I didn't read it on the Wikipedia page. Boxer and Fortunio finally arrive at Buffalo Bill's, and they see Krista now performing. Krista apparently has poetry on her website, kristanow.com, which unfortunately no longer exists. Spiritual sin, synergy, made unto you, one fluid karma. And she makes eye contact and sings her hit song, Teen Horniness is Not a Crime.
Teen horniness is not a crime. Open your heart and your mind. Horniness is on the rise.
And she even suggests that the idiots who shot up Columbine did it because they couldn't get laid. Carl, who is the owner of the strip club, I guess, is upset with Krista because she reads poetry and sings instead of dancing and taking her clothes off. Fortunio approaches Krista, and Boxer says he recognizes her, so he's been watching her on the hub, I guess. But it's funny that when he signs an autograph for a fan, he forgets to sign his last name the correct way. Funny how that works. Krista's big story to get Fortunio over the state border is to tell her friend at the border that she's an actress researching for a role in a film directed by Boxer Santoros. Boxer went missing over the weekend, and meanwhile Krista is preparing for her role as a dancer who is interested in astrophysics. Fortunio is a private investigator hired to find Boxer from his drug-fueled binge. If Fortunio doesn't go along with Krista, Krista will turn him into the people he owes money to. Fortunio rudely reminds Krista that she's a porn star and not a real actress. Krista gets offended and tells him that she's an entrepreneur, talk show host, maker of energy drinks, and more. A pre-Kardashian, if you will. Krista then brings Boxer to her bedroom, and the book tells us that they spent hours making love before constructing their story. Krista elaborates on the plan, and post-nut clarity isn't enough to snap Boxer out of this. He goes along with the story. She has Boxer convinced that they wrote a script together called The Power, and Boxer plays a renegade cop called Jericho Kane. The power refers to the power that's locked inside of you, and when it's released, the world ends. Krista calls her friend Sheena G and has her email the script for The Power. We learned that US Ident is even monitoring emails, and they'll probably get wind of this, but Sheena sends it anyway. Krista comes up with a plan to have Fortunio contact a lawyer to get a contract made for producing The Power. Boxer will sign the contract, and Fortunio will receive $100,000 from Boxer's bank account. Krista then convinces Boxer that Fortunio wants paid and wants a producing role for saving Boxer's life. There's a brief page of Baron von Westphalen, who owns Trier Corporations, who is not interested in the Trier that was burnt. He's interested in the fingerprints of Boxer Santoros, so he knows that Boxer is alive and the dead corpse in the car is not him. Baron von Westphalen is essentially a mockery of Elon Musk, but it would be difficult to explain it in a few words so we'll get to that later in the series. There's a section of the book where it's just the screenplay of The Power that Krista wrote. I might make a separate episode talking about the segments of the book, but we'll see. Boxer is reading the screenplay of The Power and trying to get ideas. He receives a call from an anonymous source. We see that they are from Trier, and the lady tells him to stay with the girl. She even refers to him as a pragmatic prevaricator. She tells him that Krista is his only way of survival and to keep taking the fluid karma injections, and most importantly, do not board the roller coaster. Krista then asks Boxer about her terrible screenplay, and Boxer can't understand how crystals affect the Earth's rotation, so the character needs changed to an astrophysicist to make sense. And Krista clarifies that the girl is the key. Krista's lawyer has written up a contract to scam Boxer out of his money. It is under the name Krista Now Energy, with an IE, Productions. In this world, you don't need your account number, you just need your fingerprint. So Boxer, who has forgotten his account number, uses his thumb, and US Ident gets notified of this transaction. We cut to the Westphalians, and they're now aware of Boxer's location. The lady is aware of Fortunio, and Baron von Westphalen tells her not to worry about him because Krista is the key. The woman is revealed to be Inga von Westphalen, Baron's mother. Inga is worried that Baron's new experiment is going horribly wrong. What is his experiment? Stay tuned. Krista tells Boxer that their room is bugged and they are listening. Boxer immediately spills the beans about Inga calling him earlier, and Krista brushes it off as someone being involved with the film. And despite what he was originally told, she tells him that he has to ride the roller coaster before they leave, or he could die. So he injects himself with fluid karma and gets on the roller coaster. On the roller coaster, Boxer has a vision from 1902 of a Native American tribe watching him. Boxer has created a hole in the fourth dimension, and it had been sealed, but healing takes time, and a rip in the dimension is said to be as delicate as they come. Two roads diverged in a wood, and Boxer Santoros took the one less traveled by, and that made all the difference. The whole roller coaster thing is very confusing and seems way out of place here. The main thing that I could think of is that it will tie in later to the whole situation of Boxer being a clone, yes, this gets weird, and having to do with Baron von Westphalen's experiment, which we will also get into when the time comes. We've just begun to break everything down, and more will be revealed as we go. Anyway, that was Chapter 1 of Southland Tales, titled Two Roads Diverged. Hopefully I was able to break some things down and get some more attention onto this lesser known part of the story. I left some things open because a lot of these things will be explained further on down the line. This is just the beginning of this crazy rabbit hole, and I hope you guys will continue to join me on this journey, because honestly this movie gets a lot of hate, but this story is one of my favorite stories ever told. Hopefully I'm able to attract some new eyes to this story, because it means a lot to me and I just have such a soft spot for it. So if you're interested in continuing this journey with me, please subscribe to get notified when I upload the rest of the chapters of Southland Tales, as well as some other videos on some other films that I want to talk about. I host a podcast called Sansamira After Dark. If you want to hear me talk about all kinds of different movies every single week, you can listen to me there, and I would much appreciate any kind of support you guys can give me. So subscribe, rate on iTunes, and all that stuff that YouTubers and podcasts say. Thank you for watching, and this is the way the video ends. Not with a whimper, but with a bang.